Well, first, it was very important to contribute to the national conversation by supporting this very comprehensive effort by Gallup to understand what are Americans' attitudes towards the news media. Knight Foundation has been long involved in journalism, and our mission are informed and engaged communities, and because we believe that an informed community helps support a thriving democracy. So last year, in the poll, as part of this effort, we began a multi-million-dollar plan to help address these concerns in multiple ways. One, with the poll. Two, last fall we launched with the Aspen Institute a new commission called the Knight Commission on Trust, Media, and Democracy that's made up of business leaders, technologists, journalists, to help address some of these concerns over the coming months. And at the same time, we've made millions of dollars of investments in people and projects who are committed to finding solutions to improve the flow of accurate information through machine learning and increasing news literacy with new approaches. So we don't know what the solutions are. So what we're doing is exploring many, many different ways to see if we can all together address these very, very major concerns. The good news is that Americans believe that journalism in the news media is critical, is very important to the role of democracy. So all of us have a responsibility, whether we're journalists, major technology companies, and all of us here in the room, to help make sure that at a time when the way that we're consuming news and information is changing, that we are finding ways to address it.
What's interesting about this, too, is that these numbers come up in a setting in which institutions, all kinds of institutions, are less trusted in America. So, and I also think it's interesting to think about what are people responding to when we ask them about the media. Is the media, the Washington Post? Is it Fox News? Is it your Facebook feed? What exactly are we talking about?
That's one of the key challenges, and one thing that we do know is that many people have a higher level of trust in their local news organization. So a big part of our effort at Knight Foundation is building on our investments in local media. Just this last December, working with other foundations, the Democracy Fund and the MacArthur Foundation, and we launched Newsmatch. It was a matching gifts program to support local not-for-profit news organizations and national not-for-profit news organizations across the country. Because one opportunity that we do have to build trust back in journalism is to build it, one community at a time with our local news organizations.
Do you think that local journalism, do you think it's under siege? Do you find that is it a worry for you? I think it's one of the worst problems we have in the news business right now, is sort of the decline and really the future of local journalism. Do you agree?
Margaret, we are all familiar with just huge cuts that have been made in local newsrooms across America. And one of the other things that we're trying very hard to do at Knight is to help support the acceleration of major metro newspapers across the country to the digital age. And those investments have been paying off in one city after another. And one other thing that I would just like to add is I had the privilege over the weekend of reading investigative stories from around the country, because I'm a judge in the Goldsmith Awards, which is administered by the Shorenstein Center at Harvard. So it was just an extraordinary collection of strong local reporting, of journalists protecting the most vulnerable people in our society through reporting, families who are just like caught up in child welfare snafus and our most vulnerable elderly, fragile populations in nursing homes. There was just like one entry after another about what's happening in nursing homes and in our schools. So I would say that there is tremendous, very important, strong investigative reporting, enterprise reporting that is taking place in cities across America. And what we need to do to battle misinformation is to improve the flow of accurate information and strong reporting, because it is there and we must support it, because one story after another just showed how journalists were making a difference in their communities and for our most fragile and vulnerable populations.
Do you think education plays a role in this? Do we need to be better about teaching civics and news literacy? Is that part of the equation here?
That is absolutely part of the equation, and it's helping young people. Look, this is where they're getting their news and information. In addition, young people are also creating content. So how might we help young people not only be smarter about what they're consuming, but also be smarter about what they're creating? And how might young people be part of the whole solution of making sure that communities are properly informed and engage? And so absolutely, education is key, and it's one of the recurring themes that our new Knight Commission on Trust, Media, and Democracy is finding and exploring.